Have you ever wondered about how amazingly beautiful our world is? Do you know, have you looked up at the sky at night and tried to count all the stars in the universe? Or looked at a beautiful flower with a little bumblebee hovering above it and marvelled at the intricacy of those wings and the beautiful fragrance of the flower? Our world is amazing and beautiful, and for me as a Christian, I believe that God made our world and it's wonderful to be able to enjoy it. Now, do you remember last time we were talking about a man called Paul who lived 2,000 years ago, and he was writing a letter to his friends in a city called Ephesus, and we've got that letter in the Bible in a book called Ephesians. Paul starts that letter by praising our Creator God, who is so awesomely wonderful for making our beautiful world. And then Paul goes on to say that as well as being so amazing that he'd made our world, God loved us so much that part of his plan, right from the time when he made the world, was to allow Jesus to die on the cross so that our friendship and our relationship with God could be put right again. And to help us to think about that a little bit more, I've hung a timeline in the tree behind me. So let's go and take a look at what we've got on our timeline. So here we are about 2,000 years ago, and Jesus has died on the cross. He's come back to life, he's gone back up to heaven, and a short while after that he appeared to Paul, and Paul realised how amazing it was that Jesus was the Son of God who had come to rescue us. And that's how Paul ended up writing the letter that we're now thinking about to the Ephesians in Ephesus. If we rewind a little bit, here, further back in time was when God made the world, and if we fast forward all the way back past Jesus to the present day, here we are. You've been born, I'm alive, you're alive, we're all here, and we can all learn about Jesus. But there's one more thing I want to share with you on this timeline that Paul was really keen to tell the Christians in Ephesus when he wrote to them. He said that when God created the world, not only did he plan that Jesus was going to come back, but he planned and he chose to make us. That's right, so before God made the world. So on our timeline, we need to reverse all the way back to before God made the world. Paul says that God chose us to be his children, to be part of his family, to be adopted into his family. That's really, really amazing. Just take a moment to let that sink in. Our amazing creator God, who created the universe and planned everything down to the microscopic tiny detail of flowers and bumblebees, he planned us, he thought about us, he knew us, he loved us, and he chose to make us be able to be part of his family right back at the beginning of the time. That just blows my mind. It's awesome. It's almost unbelievable, but it's not quite unbelievable because I know it's true because of what I've experienced for myself as a Christian. And that was what Paul really wanted to share with his friends, the first Christians in Ephesus 2,000 years ago. The amazing awesomeness of what God had done. But what should we do about that? It's great to know it, isn't it? But what should we do? Well, 3 times in this part of his letter, Paul says that the reason God chose us all that long time ago was so that we could bring praise to God. So we should be bringing praise to God this week. It doesn't matter whether happy things are happening or sad things are happening in our lives. Because we have been chosen and loved and are known by God, we should bring him praise. So I want you to think about that this week. Chat with the people you're living with in the house at the moment. How can you bring praise to God this week?